Today we're going to be reviewing the Optimum Nutrition Serious Mass. Specifically, this is a weight gainer. So, if you're somebody who's trying to get lean, this would not be the product to take.
No, definitely not.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, weight gainers are used because people who either can't get enough food in or they have a very high metabolism and they're not carrying much mass to them, they would take a weight gainer to help with getting extra calories.
Yeah, if you're really active and you need to maintain weight and you feel like you're losing weight, that's where weight gainers help. I mean, it's just an easy way to get more calories in your diet, like Glenn said. And in order to gain weight, you simply have to eat more calories than you burn. I mean, that's what it comes down to. If you do the opposite, then that's how you lose weight. So, with this particular product, you're looking at a serving size of 334 grams when you look at the label. That's a pretty big serving. In fact, you probably couldn't mix that in anything but you'd probably need a 80-ounce container and a industrial-sized blender to do that, right? I mean,
I've never used this myself, but I don't know how well this would mix in a conventional shaker cup.
It wouldn't. You couldn't because there wouldn't be enough room in there. So it's just too much powder. So that's if you do the serving size. That's the 254 grams of carbohydrates, 21 which is sugar, and 50 grams of protein. And the sugar, it's a little misleading because maltodextrin is one of the main carbohydrates in here, which is it's basically sugar. It's a disaccharide, but it's not listed as a sugar because it's not a monosaccharide, but it's got the same really high glycemic index. In other words, it absorbs really, really fast, which is fine if you're trying to gain weight. That's okay. Some people want to gain weight more clean, so they'll just eat more slow-burning carbohydrates like oatmeal and things like that. But that's up to you. Well, why don't we run through some of the ingredients?
Yeah, the very first ingredient is maltodextrin. We've covered that. And then the protein blend: whey protein concentrate, calcium caseinate, egg albumin, and sweet dairy whey.
I don't know what sweet dairy whey is. I don't know if that's just another way of saying whey.
Yeah, it is something different, and I'm kind of lost for words. I don't know exactly. I don't remember. It is different than just general whey.
Okay.
But I do know, though, that sweet dairy whey has a lot of lactose. So if you
that explains it. Okay,
if you are someone who has a problem with lactose, this would not be the product for you.
So basically, it's whey protein where they didn't filter out all the lactose.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Okay.
It's still contains a lot of the lactose, which is milk sugar.
So if you've taken this and you notice you get gas, it's going to be one of two things: the lactose, if you're not used to it, or the fact that there's a lot of calories all at once for your body, which can tend to give you gas. And that's pretty much just a little bit of a vitamin blend.
Yeah, they add a vitamin blend to it.
Sweetened with sucralose. So more or less what you're looking at here is the ratio. When you're looking at weight gainers, we always tell people, look at the ratio of carbohydrates to protein. This one is 5 to 1. So for every 5 grams of carbohydrates, you get 1 gram of protein. That makes the product cheaper for the manufacturer to make because there's no cost involved for maltodextrin. It's quite cheap when compared to protein. So, really you're paying for the carbs, and a big part of this. When you see this 12-pound container, in this 12-pound container, there's 16 servings, 16 times 50. So you're looking at, there's 800 grams of protein in here. So if you plan on getting, 100 grams of protein a day, or let's just say 50 for somebody, that's about a little more than 2 weeks worth, So
yeah, and you don't have to use the full serving size of the 2 scoops.
And you can't use it. I mean, you're not gonna be able to mix it.
Yeah, you're not going. So you cut it recommended. You cut it in half. Do 1 scoop at a time. Yeah. In water, they're saying the 2 scoops is 1,250 calories. So you're looking at like 625 calories in 1 scoop. And then obviously if you want to have some more calories to that, you can mix it with milk.
It's about 125 grams of carbs, 25 grams of protein. So it's okay, I mean, you might want something with a little more protein. It depends. It's really, if you're a really hard gainer, then this is the way to go because there's so many carbohydrates in there. And, you could always add a little bit of a whey protein or something to it if you wanted to get a little bit more protein. But 25 is, okay. But again, the ratio is what's important. You can go to one that's like a 2 to 1 ratio where you get 80 grams of carbohydrates and 40 grams of protein. If you just want to gain a little bit of weight, I mean, that's the way to do it. With this one, you can't scale it quite as much because let's just say 25 grams was what we consider a significant amount of protein. Again, that's going to vary based on your body weight. Well, in order to get that 25 grams of protein, you have to ingest 125 grams of carbs with this. You may not want to take in that many carbs. So you may want to, again, go with something where, hey, I can get 25 grams of protein and 50 grams of carbs, and that's like a 2 to 1 ratio. So that's really what to look at. Now, sometimes when you see that one next to this one, that particular weight gainer, let's just say whatever it is that has a 2 to 1 ratio, well, you're going to pay more for a smaller amount because there's going to be more protein.
More protein.
And that's where the cost is. So you're going to be like, well, this is a great deal. 12 pounds for, I don't know, just off the top of my head, $40, let's just say, versus this other one, which is 8 pounds for $60. But the 8-pound one has a lot more protein in it, even in an 8-pound container. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, and just there is actually some other ingredients that they don't
Yep.
include in their ingredient or their ingredient list at the bottom. There is creatine monohydrate. There's 1 gram of that. There's 500 milligrams of L-glutamine, 500 milligrams of glutamine peptides, and then there's some choline, inositol, and PABA at the end.
Some B vitamins.
Some B vitamins. So you've got 1 gram of creatine, which...
And that's on the 2-scoop serving, which again you're not able to do. So that's more window dressing or anything. You'd have to take your creatine separate together.
Yeah. Plus, with all of the calories that you're getting outside of it, all the protein and all the carbs, the benefits probably not going to be there from that creatine. And then the glutamine is at a very low dosage.
You're going to get naturally occurring glutamine from the whey protein, so that's not really a concern. And glutamine peptides, well, if you're somebody with celiac, you should avoid it because the source on glutamine peptides almost always is going to be wheat gluten. So,
hydrolyzed wheat gluten.
Yeah, so you're going to want to avoid that. So, it's okay. It's just somebody, if you have some digestive sensitivity, this is not going to be the product for you. If you have any lactose intolerance or you have celiacs where you can't handle wheat gluten. And again, the creatine, about 5 grams for most people. Again, it varies a little bit with body weight, and creatine monohydrate is what you're going to want. You're only going to get 1, and if you're doing, the 2 scoops, so you're probably going to get half a gram is really what it breaks down to. So, again, if you're a super hard gainer, this is the way to go. I mean, it's fine. It's certainly all right. Other things people do is they'll just buy protein powders, and they'll throw bananas, and some oatmeal or things like that in there if they want a little healthier source of carbohydrates. You may not gain weight as well with that, though, because those carbs tend to burn a little slower, whereas you're not getting the big insulin spikes and stuff. So
another thing to remember, too, is that this is intended to be in addition to the calories you're already intaking.
Yes, this is not you to replace your...
Yeah, a lot of times people will drink this and they become full off of it and they don't eat for multiple hours, and then this just replaces their dinner or this replaces their breakfast. You don't want to do that. This needs to be taken in addition to everything else you're taking.
Yeah,
otherwise, you're just replacing calories with calories.
Some people, what they'll do is if they're really hard gainers, they'll eat all day, do their protein shakes, eat a fair amount of calories, and if they have trouble, they'll do is eat, at night, and then before bed, take something like this and then sleep because you're at rest, and that's another option too.